Hi guys. I have been living in China for the past 15 years, 15 plus years, yeah. And I came to China to study. I came to China to study in their universities. And since that time until now, I have been involved with education, anything but education in China. I have done tutoring, I have done teaching, I have done teaching in schools, in middle schools, in high schools, and even in universities. Aside from that, I have also interacted with a lot of students, bright Chinese students at all different levels. And here's one thing that I have always observed about Chinese students and parents and teachers. They are not satisfied with their education systems. They are always criticizing their education systems, the way they teach kids, the way their education system emphasizes on kids memorizing stuff and not kids being creative and thinking outside the box. The way their education system does not promote critical thinking in where students have to solve problems on their own or ask or question things. If you work in China, you will notice that Chinese students will never ask you questions. Whether you are at university or high school or primary school, they are not used to that. They are used to getting the instructions from the teachers or professors. The students are not there, are not ready to ask questions. Okay, very rare that they will challenge you on a concept or something that you're teaching them. They rarely ask questions. It's not that they don't have questions, but it's how their system is designed, where the students only receive. You understand? They only receive the instructions. Anyway, I don't have to digress again. I want to stay on the topic. And the topic is Chinese people also feel like their education system or standard is lower when they compare themselves to Americans or to Western education systems. And then when you observe people in Africa, we are also not happy with our education systems. And there are a lot of theories. People saying, no, this education system was designed to keep us down. This education system was designed by the colonizers. They gave us this to keep us down, to suppress us. They don't want us to be superior. And something that they say also that is widely mentioned online social media platforms is that our education systems in Africa are outdated. We are still learning and memorizing things that are not practical in real life. And then, if you go to America and listen to Americans speak, they are also criticizing their education systems. They're saying that their education systems are not suitable for today's work demands. They're saying that the education systems are outdated. They're saying the same things you are saying in Africa. They're saying the same things the Chinese are saying. So, my conclusion is that it seems everybody feels like the grass is greener on the other side of the riverbank. Everybody feels the other side have a better education system than us. Everybody feels the same way. Chinese are sending their kids to America, they're sending their kids to Western countries to get better education. Meanwhile, if you go to Western countries and America, they're praising Asian kids for having real education, understanding math, excelling in science and math. You understand? Anyway, I'll conclude by saying that there isn't a lot of differences in our education systems. The subjects that the students learn in Africa, the subjects that the European kids are learning, and the subjects that the Asian kids are learning are almost identical. They're learning almost identical stuff. The only difference is that in Africa, most of our education is in the colonial languages. So if you are a former British colony, you are learning in English. If you are a former French colony, your education, your medium of instruction is French. Whilst when you come to Asia, they have taken the same contents, but they have been translated to their native languages and they're teaching them in their native languages. So you have the Chinese learning everything in Chinese. You have the Japanese learning everything in Japanese. You have the Koreans learning everything in the Korean. You have the Thai people learning everything in Thai. It's all like that. That's the biggest difference. It's not the contents, but the medium of instruction. That's the biggest difference. Okay, and another difference that's also observable in our education environment is actually the environment, and that includes the facilities that facilitate learning and teaching. We are talking about the classrooms, the books, the availability of the books, the availability of the resources, the teachers, the composition of the teachers, the training of the teachers. Most of our teachers are not adequately trained in Africa. Our teachers are not adequately trained, and our brightest do not want to be teachers, do not want to become teachers. So we have people that did not make it to top universities that are left to be teachers. Meanwhile, in China, you have specific universities that for education majors and that graduate teachers. You understand? You have education majors, university. You go to this university. Every province will have that university that has major in education, and students that graduate from that university automatically go into teaching. And you have teachers with master's degrees teaching in high schools, teachers with bachelor's degrees teaching in high schools, primary schools, from different educational universities. Do you get me? Yeah. So I think the biggest problem is no longer the contents or the syllabus or the curriculums, because now we are living in the global village now. All information is on the internet. You have internet, you can access what people are learning in America. You can get what people are learning in China. You can get everything on the internet. It's there. But the biggest difference is the resources. If you go to a classroom in China, you see how big or how far behind we are and how big the difference there is. If you go to a classroom setting in America or a classroom setting in England or France, and then you go back to a classroom setting in Zambia, in Malawi, in Zimbabwe, in Botswana, you will notice the differences. Right? We are living in the AI age. These people have already incorporated AI. Young students, they know how to use AI apps. You give them homeworks, you give them assignments. They know how to utilize AI tools to research and give you answers. Something that is done by university students in Malawi. You cannot expect secondary school students to do it. So what's the problem? Is it the syllabus? Is it the curriculum? No, it's the resources. How much money are you putting into education? How much resources are you making available for our young learners? Stay tuned. It's a big topic. Give me your comments. It's me, Nestor, the black teacher, and I'm out.